I don't know what happened, y'all. Last broadcast got cut off. That's how you know what I'm about to say is going to free somebody. So let me pick up where I was. And I'm Darrell Bennett, for those of you that might not know, and those of you that know. I was talking about how being in prison, it took me going to prison to be free. So let me share this really quickly, because I'm talking about living with criticism. And there was a dark moment where I was trying everything I could to fit in. And I felt like I was trying not to stick out. That's not a place where a person wants to stick out. And I began to despise myself. I began to despise the way I speak. I was trying to change up everything about myself because I just wanted to fit in. Not so much to be liked, but just because I didn't want to feel like an outsider in a place where already you're an outsider. And I talk about this in Come Back Swinging the book. But I really want to share this because I want to free somebody. I really realized when I took note of some of the criticisms that I was getting. Some people would say that I was bougie because, if I walked in the room and I didn't say anything, this wasn't my whole experience, but in certain places that, because I was transferred to different places. One place in particular, if I went into a room and didn't say anything at all, people would say, oh, he's bougie. He think that's why he don't talk to nobody, because, he thinks he's better than everybody else here. And if I would say something, especially if I were to answer a question, oh, he thinks he's a know-it-all. If I lowered my voice, unnatural, it's like, who he trying to be? I mean, what do you want to be, Barry Manilow now? And if I talk like I talk now, yeah, he's gay. So I want to share that with you. I realized it was nothing I could do. I had to be me. And when I remember I came to a point where I was laying in the cell and I said, you know what? I'm never going to pretend to be somebody else. I'm going to be who the heck I want to be. And if you don't like it, I don't give a care. And that was the beginning of really my transformation. And this is what I found, which was ironic. When I started being authentically me, that's when people really started gravitating toward me. And I'm saying that you might be wondering, well, what does being authentically you have to do with living with criticism? I realized in that moment that no matter what I do, there's going to be a subset of people that's just they're not going to rock with me. You got to know that. Sometimes I think we do a disservice because we tell people that they're great and they're special and they're wonderful and they're beautiful and they're amazing and they're charismatic and they're gifted and God loves them and all that. And that is all true. But I want you to know that you got to also tell people, some people just not going to like you. That's just the bottom line. It's the real of the real. And when you recognize that, when you face it, it won't blindside you. Because remember, the hardest hit is the one you didn't see coming. And so I want to free you in this next season, because in this next season where you're going to have some critics. But and this is where I want to leave off. For those of you watching my last broadcast that got cut off, I was talking about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, how they went from, we watch a billion people watching their wedding and everybody's loving them, to now it seems like everything they do, somebody has something to say. I want you to understand something. The higher you go, there's going to be more responses on both sides. Okay, so that's why you got to be very careful when you pray that God gives you a big, great gift so you can touch a lot of people. Because what that's going to mean is there's going to be a lot of people that have something to say about you negatively. We don't really like to talk about that. You can right now Google Mother Teresa, and you're going to find hundreds of thousands of negative things that people say about Mother Teresa. I mean, I'm not even Catholic, but how are you going to say something about Mother? All she did was go around helping people. But just like there's a lot of people that might love her, there's always an other end to that. There's always another side to the coin. There's always somebody that's trying to jack your swag, for lack of better terms, trying to pull you off what you know you to be. And so you got to understand that, because if you don't, you'll find yourself unable to live with criticism, and you'll die never releasing what God has for you. I wonder what Jesus' life would have been like if he would have stopped because of criticism. And now if Jesus didn't escape criticism, who the heck you think you are? I mean, I remember one of my favorite parts. Jesus had a sense of humor. I don't care what nobody said. And he heals, I can't remember exactly, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but I think it was a man. He heals somebody, put it this way. And the people come to stone him, the religious aristocracy. And Jesus' response is classic. Jesus said, for what good work are you going to stone me? I mean, all I'm doing is going around doing good works. And you got a problem with me. So I need you to understand, if Jesus couldn't escape living with criticism, who are you? And when you recognize that, that's when you blossom. See, some of you, I'm telling you, some of you are stuck where you are, and it has nothing to do with intellect. It has nothing to do with God's hand in your life. It has nothing to do with any of those things. You have all of that, but you're stuck because you are concerned about what people will think if. You're concerned about what's going to happen. You don't want that. What are people going to say? And I want you to understand something. People are going to talk about you one way or the other. Some people will talk about you like a dog, even if you're doing the right thing. So you can't live your life that way. And I didn't even mean to necessarily take it to this level, but this is really, I think, and I'm going to ask you to share this, particularly for my young women out there. I see so many young women falling victim to, I think men are able to do it a little bit better, because I think it's something that's just, I don't know if it's just in men innately, or is how we've been socialized, particularly in America, where I think men are not so much able to deal with criticism better, but able to make a move even if they know they won't be liked. They're able to say, you know what, if I grow my beard out this long, I'll grow it out. I don't care what you think. But I find a lot of my young women and my sisters living to try to please a bunch of other people who don't even matter. They don't even matter. You know what I mean? I know women who will get dressed for the club, not for men that they're trying to get, but for women so they can show them something. I mean, how can you live life like that? Yeah, I'm going to be stunting on them tonight. And I'm thinking like, okay, but so you went out and spent money on an outfit, and maybe money you didn't even have, to impress people you don't even like. For what? They still gonna talk about you. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to get this excited, but they're still going to talk. I don't care what you do. You could change your hair. You could put it in a bun. You could chop it all the way off. They're gonna have something to say about you. So live authentically you. And I think as I do more of these messages, I want to begin to unravel for people what it means to live authentically you. We all have this. We're all showing people our representative rather than us. And one of the most powerful things I've heard in this season of my life was a pastor who said, Darrell, and when he said this to me, this hit me like right here, and you can't even see, but right, let me stand up so you get right there, like right. This is what he said to me. He said, Darrell, God is not going to bless who you pretend to be. I said, ooh, maybe he knows something about me that I don't know about myself. He said, Darrell, God won't bless who you pretend to be. So many of us are so in love with our image. See, that dark period in my life helped me to see at least the difference between me and my image. Even if I don't show you that, at least the start is knowing you. Like they say, the worst lie you can tell is to yourself. At least keep it real with you. And I had to realize God can't bless who I'm pretending to be. God can't bless stuff. Now people always say, well, God won't bless mess. I don't know about that, because God blesses us all in mess. But you got to recognize I'm in mess. Remember, one of my messages earlier this week was, when you start with saying, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. When you come to God that way, that's when God said, now I can release some power. But because you're so married to making it seem like you know it all, some stuff he's not going to be able to do. And so I just want to say that to you. I want people to live authentically you. People are counting on you to be authentically you, and recognize and realize that as you are you, as you are free to be yourself in who you are and the freedom of who you are, that's when the real blessings begin to come in a whole different way. And now when I talk about this, let me be very clear. When I talk about being free to be who you are, I'm not talking about living in depravity or deviance. So don't twist it like that, because I think we all have things in our lives that we're working around and we're asking not just for forgiveness for, but for transformation. And that's not what I mean. But when I mean being you, is to realize, you know what, if this is how I do things, this is how I do things. And I'm made this way for a reason. Some of you are trying to dim your light to fit people, not realizing that the more you dim your light, the more you're untrue to you. And you're really blocking what God is trying to do over your life because you are living for the praise of the creation instead of the validation of the creator. And I want you to know, you don't have to work for this validation because he already gave it to you. It's already done. You don't got to pray to receive the blessings of God. I know religious people will tell you that. You got to pray until something happens. The devil is a liar. The scripture says that the finished work of Christ is what I stand in. It finished means it's finished. It means it's done. That's why he said on the cross, it's done. I don't have to pray to receive from God what God has already given me. See, that's a whole nother message. When I walked into that blessing and recognized that revelation, that changed my whole life. That's a whole nother thing, because I don't even want to switch that on this broadcast because we'd be here all night. But I think some of the reason why we focus so much in living inauthentically is because we've been taught, first of all, that we serve a God that wants us to be something that we're not in order to appease him first. And then many of us are born into families where our families are criticizing us for everything we're doing. So we also are trying to change that. And then by the time we get to school, you already know how the school game goes. Try being yourself at school and see how long that lasts. Everybody got something to say, especially now. Look, I'm 34 years old. When I was growing up, if somebody had something to say to you at school, they said it to you at school. They might have said it at the bus stop. And if you lived around them, it might have been, a little bit spread around a couple streets of where you were. Now, people have a platform, a worldwide platform to say any and everything about you. Why do you think so many children are killing themselves because of cyberbullying? Now people can get on the internet and say every mean thing about you. So I would not want to be a child in this environment. I really wouldn't. That's why I'm real leery of adults who have so much to say about this next generation. They're under a level of attack that I couldn't even have imagined. If I was living in my awkwardness as a youth, now in this internet age where they could say all types of mean stuff about you and put it on Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat and say all types of stuff, I don't know if I would have made it. So I have to give them some kudos, because we got some brave young people. But I want to say that all of those things, unfortunately, are socializing you and making you to somehow believe that you can't be who you are and that you have to pretend to be somebody else. And can I say this? Because I understand. I know I said I was going to get off, but I'm going to get off when I get off, because I need to minister to some people. Really, I need to help free you. I understand that there are colleges and even schools that people watch my broadcast. Let me say this, and maybe you'll just take this little clip and show this little clip. You ain't got to show them the whole thing. If you are a young person, I'm talking about under the age of 18. I know, me being 34, it might seem like I'm an elderly person to you, but I want you to know something. I was there and I've learned some things. And let me say this. If you got to pretend to be somebody for them to be your friend, they're not your friend. I'm sorry, I got too excited. They're not, and I know it's easy for me to say, because you're thinking, well, what the heck do you know? But I've been there. If you gotta morph and change, and can I be really real with you? I think some of the poor choices I made and some of the dark, deep things that I was doing was me trying to fit into something I had no business fitting in the first place. And so many times we are trying to be liked by people whose opinion doesn't even matter. I'm trying to be nice and not say that they don't matter, but for real, in my life, you don't pay air bill in this house. You don't, who are you? And I want you to know, if you've got to switch and change and turn and morph and cover up who you are and change how you talk and move how you walk and all that for them to be your friend, that's not a friend. I want you to understand that. That's not a friend. That may be an acquaintance. It might be an associate. It could be a hater, but it for sure as heck ain't a friend. I don't care who they are. And can I say this too for my young people? I didn't even mean to go on this, but for my young people here, people that are in your family, a lot of times those are going to be the hardest ones on you. But I need you to understand something. As you get older, because see, you don't get to choose your family. You can choose your friends. You don't choose your family. As you get older, you're going to recognize something. To really be who you called to be, there comes a period where God will call you away from your family. He did it for Abraham. He did it for Joseph. He did it for Moses. Because there's some stuff that God can't do in your life while everybody who knew you way back when is all around you. Because those are the ones that got the most to say about you. Those are, I knew you, how you going to do that? And so they only see you as you were, not as God is taking you to be. So I understand it's a season, it's a period. You might be in middle school now, you might be in high school. You got to do what you got to do. But I want you to know something. As you get older, you're going to start to see that God is going to start pulling you away from some of those people, because in an operating room, my mother was a nurse, is a nurse, excuse me. In an operating room, the first thing that they do is remove all non-essential personnel. I don't care how close mama is to you. Mama can't be in the operating room, because the only people that are in the operating room are those people who are there to do the procedure. Everybody else got to wait outside. Everybody else has to get a word from the doctor later. And I need you to know that for God to do what he's going to do in your life, I'm not saying it's going to happen now. I'm not saying he's going to call you away at 15, but there's going to be a period in your life where God is going to pull you away. He's going to have to do an operation. And people that's been in your life and have all types of stuff to say about you, and all of some of you, your downfall is that you grew up, you live where you grew up, and all you know is what you know around you. That's for some of you your downfall. And I would go as far as to say, if you were born and raised in the same city and you lived there to the point you were 15, 16, when you go to college or afterwards, you need to go somewhere else. At least for a period. I think people had a huge disadvantage who lived in the same city their whole life. Beyond the fact that you ain't really been exposed to things that you could be exposed to, but sometimes you got to go away to come home. I'm gonna say that again. You got to go away to come home. You got to go away from people, places, and things that's trying to pull you into something that you aren't even called to be that, and they trying to pull you into. You got to go away to come back for people to realize. Because I need you to understand something. Jesus said it himself, that the prophets, how did he put it? A prophet is accepted everywhere except his own hometown. Sometimes the people that's closest to you are the ones that's going to be the most critical, the most resentful, and then don't let you blow up. I can't tell you how many people I know who were in federal prison because it was people that they were closest to that laid the knife in their back. It was never the people that they didn't know. Because if somebody didn't know you, what they going to say, that's going to really, really hurt you. It was the people that was closest to him. In some cases, I remember one guy, he came to some money. He was doing well where he, was living, and he started rapping, and people got jealous. Who are you? Who you think you are? And you ain't going to help the whole hood come up? So, before you knew it, he was sitting on a 20-year sentence. And I'm not saying that he didn't do some things to contribute to that, but it amazed me that it was the people that was closest to him. I could do a whole message on that, but I want to free you. I really do want to free you from needing to be liked by everybody. Because I'm going to tell you something. The older you get, the more you realize, and it's not so much the older, the wiser you get, you start to realize, I got to be me. I cannot pretend to be you. I can't do it no more. It's too much work. It's too much work. It's too much work to change the way I talk because you don't like it in it. Change the way I walk because you don't like it in there. There's some people that say, I don't like your voice is too high. I don't like your voice. Okay, well, okay. So what am I supposed to change my voice because you don't like it? My voice moves people all over this world. So if I start changing it because you don't like my tone, and I did before, don't get me wrong, because I was starting to feel a type way. But if I realize something, if I start changing things because you don't like it, now people that I'm touching all the way in places like Africa, now it dims some of that. So I don't care what you think. Let me get off, because I don't want to even do that. I don't want to go there, and I want to be respectful, and I don't want nobody to leave this broadcast like, this guy is a little bit off his rocker. But I really want you to know I'm not speaking to you from something I read in a book. I'm speaking to you about living with criticism, from dealing with it in the past and still dealing with it, and knowing that where God has taken me, I'll deal with it on a level I probably could have never even expected. All right. So I know what it's like, but I also know I've got a calling. I've got people that I've got to reach. I can't stay stuck on what you want. And I'm not going to sit here and say that some of the stuff doesn't hurt. Of course it does. Of course some of it hurts, but do I stop being who I'm called to be because you have a problem with it? And I'm really going to get off after this. I promise you I'm going to get off. Let me drop this nugget. You want to get around people who are less critical, get around busy, successful people. Because, see, people that ain't got nothing going on, those are the ones that have the most to say about you. That's what I noticed. I remember one guy, I'm not going to say his name because I'm not even going to give him that much credence. When I first wrote the book, he had a problem with the book. This guy was on the Facebook page. I blocked him on Facebook page. He went on my public page saying all kind of nasty stuff. I blocked him on there. Then he went to my Twitter. And I finally said, why are you following me so much if you don't like me? But that's because you don't have enough going on in your life. And don't get me wrong. I've heard people on social media a lot that I don't like. I just don't engage with them. But for me to have the time to keep following you on different platforms after you've blocked me, that says more about what I have going on and lack of what I have going on in you. So if you want to get around people who are less critical, because I'm telling you something, you very rarely will be criticized by someone who's doing more than you are. Really. Most of the criticism that you're going to get are from people who are doing much less than you. So they have the time to be all on your social media. They have the time to say all this nasty stuff about you. Because when you really are working a job and you're building a business and you have a spouse and you're raising kids and you're building a dream and you're pulling people up from out of poverty and you're inspiring people and you're giving people hope, you don't have time to spend 3 hours on social media talking about everything that you don't like about somebody else's page. I don't care what you thought about what I said. If you thought what I heard that you said that I might have considered that you thought and I heard, I don't have time for it because God is taking us to a new place. So I want to encourage you. I'm really getting off now. Share this with someone who you know is dealing with criticism, particularly for my young folks, because it is time that you know you can live authentically you. And guess what, baby? Sweetheart, sister, if somebody leaves you because they don't like who you are, that give them the space to leave you so that way you can receive who's really meant for you. Because somebody gonna love you and they gonna love you for who you are and not for who you have to try to pretend to be. My name is Darrell Bennett. As I end every broadcast, y'all, thank you y'all for sticking with me. I know it's been a long time today. I didn't mean to be this long, but thank you y'all. And as I end every broadcast, you can and you will and you shall come back swinging.